guys, welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, my name is Naz and I am a medical student in Malaysia. In this video, I'll be talking about the 20 life lessons that I have learned in my 20 years on this earth. So I recently turned 20 and I've been contemplating my life the past 2 weeks, and I realized that there has been a lot of things that I've learned in these past 2 decades. So I can already tell that this video is gonna be really long. So I'm gonna be timestamping everything in the description box down below. So feel free to jump to the parts that you find most interesting. I'll be starting off with the life lessons that are more towards the lighter side, and then I'll be progressively going into the more serious life lessons that I have learned. So before we get into the video, make sure to hit the subscribe button and turn your post notifications on so that you can get notified whenever I upload a new video. So without further ado, let's get on with the video. Number 1. Don't throw things away so easily because you never know when you'll need it. Things that may seem useless now may end up being super useful in certain times of need. So for example, my family keeps a lot of old newspapers and magazines, and boy have those things come in useful. And there are many other things that are super useful, like plastic bags, screws. All of these are like they might come in useful at one point or another. But of course, you shouldn't be hoarding things either, because that's just not healthy. Personally, I love throwing old things away because every time I clear my room of old things, I almost feel like my heart is getting lighter. So I'm definitely not a hoarder. But I have realized that there are a lot of things that might not seem useful now, but they might come in super useful at some point in time. So as the saying goes, one man's trash is another man's treasure. So the second life lesson that I have learned is cooking is not as intimidating as I thought it was. So ever since I started living on my own, I have been taking care of my own meals. And I started cooking for myself, which is pretty new for me. Before this, my mom never let me go near the stove on my own without her supervision because she was afraid that I'm gonna burn the kitchen down. But after moving to Malaysia, I started exploring the kitchen in my dorm, and I've actually really enjoyed cooking for myself. I feel like it gives me some sort of independence to be able to take care of my own meals, and I also really enjoy exploring new dishes that are, simple and easy to make. I think that cooking is really not as difficult as I used to think it was, as long as you follow these steps properly and as long as you are careful in the kitchen. And I also realized that as long as you get the seasonings down, you'll be pretty much okay. Number 3, don't keep your shoes in the closet for too long. So I learned this the hard way, that if you buy shoes for an event that is like months or even years away, then chances are by the time that event comes, your shoes will not be in the condition for you to wear them. So I have a really embarrassing story for this. Back when I was 16, my school was hosting this formal dinner at the end of our boarding period. On the week that we had this formal dinner, I had brought my shoes from home and my dress as well. So on the day of my formal dinner, I was in my dress, I was ready to go, and I stepped out of my room, wore my shoes that was outside, and just keep in mind that I actually never wore these shoes ever since I bought it 2 years before that formal dinner. So what happened was that when I wore my shoes, right, and I took one step, one of my shoes, it completely fell apart. Like the heel got detached and the skin on the shoe started like falling apart. Like basically the entire shoe was just falling apart. And then I took another step and the other shoe started falling apart as well. So basically that entire night I was just shuffling around in whatever was left of my shoe, and I was just hoping that nobody could see the state that my shoe was in. Yeah, that was really embarrassing. If you're the kind of person that don't really have many occasions to go for, and you don't really have much reason to wear fancy shoes and stuff, then I'd advise you to not buy shoes that frequently, and to just buy shoes when the event date is near. And mind you, those shoes were actually like pretty good quality, and it was not that cheap either. So I'm guessing that this is a problem that a lot of shoes have, and I'm probably gonna keep that in mind for a long time to come. Number 4, keep a collection or a box of letters that people have written to you. So this can really help with your mental health in general. So like whenever you're feeling down, you can just open up this box of letters that you have and just read through all of these like supportive and sweet messages that people have written to you. During the times when you feel like you're not worthy or when you feel like you're not good enough, then you can just look back at all of these letters and feel much better about yourself and remember that you have a supportive group of people around you. So I do that a lot. I have actually kept every single letter that anyone has ever written to me. I even write like letters to my future self that I look back on like years later. Sometimes in these letters to my future self, I'll be like, "Dear Naz, by now you should have done blah 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 blah." So like it's like things that I hope that future Naz would have accomplished by now. When I look back at this letter, sometimes I'm like, oh, okay, I have done this, and then sometimes I'm like, oh, okay, I have not achieved this yet, and and that just like drives me to, you know, keep pushing so that I can achieve it. Number 5, if something sounds too good to be true, it probably is. I actually chanced upon this quote a long time ago online, and when I saw it, I was like, that is so true. Like that is such a simple quote, but it's so true. And it really applies to us because since we're still young, it's really easy for us to get fooled by things that sound really too good to be true. And because we're naive and, you know, it's hard for us to differentiate between authentic information and authentic deals versus like deals that are not so authentic. I actually have a really good story for this, but I'll be talking about it in my 7th life lesson. So you can just hold on till then, or you can skip to the 7th lesson to hear it. Number 6, focus on the things that you can control and forget the things that you can't. So I learned this from Stephen Covey from his book on 7 habits of highly effective people. So in his book, he talked about reactive versus proactive people. And reactive people are those that will focus on the things that they can't control and complain about them. Whereas proactive people are those who identify the things that they can control and actually do something about it. Honestly, this has changed my perspective so much. I realized that if we are able to identify the things that we can control and take actions on them and forget the things that we can't control, we are actually able to be productive. So sometimes when I read the news, yeah, another thing about me is that I don't really read the news, which is a really bad habit. I should read the news, I know. It's just, you know, it's taken some time to get into that habit. But anyways, whenever I read the news, sometimes I'll get like really upset at how unfair some situations can be. And you know, I can go on for hours about how unfair it is and how, you know, like this could have happened, that could have happened, they could have done this. But at the end of the day, it really doesn't change anything. So instead, if I were to take a step back and think about what is it that I can change, what is it that I can't change, and based on that, if I were to take actions, then I would be more productive. All right, number 7. If your gut feeling is telling you that something is not right, then follow your gut feeling. Okay, so story time. Back when I was 18 and I was looking for jobs, I actually chanced upon this job advertisement on Facebook, which was saying that I could earn about 500 to 700 Singapore dollars every week. And I thought that, that's a pretty good deal. So I went on to fill up the Google form that was linked to that advertisement, and one of the person from the company called me for an interview. But here's the thing, she didn't let me know the address of their company until 20 minutes before the interview. And I didn't know the name of the company until during the interview itself. So that kind of like threw me off a bit, because I was like, especially because at that time I was, I was really new to this job hunting thing. So I didn't know like what is normal and not. But it still just made me feel very uneasy. And I just felt that it was just a little bit shady, And then during the interview, I realized that it wasn't an interview at all. What I noticed is that they were actually like trying to sell the product to us. It was more of like a business pitch. So after the interview, I actually was telling the other people who attended the interview with me that I just felt like it was very shady. There was just something very weird about it. So anyways, after that interview, I went back home, and after I told my family about it, and after I did some research about this company, I realized that it was actually an MLM, a multi-level marketing scheme, also known as a pyramid scheme. And to be honest, at that time, I didn't even know what a pyramid scheme was. So after I learned more about this pyramid scheme, like to me, it just seemed very unethical. It just didn't feel like the right environment for me, which is why I immediately like cut off all contacts with them, and I did not continue with that job opportunity. Like no matter how much money that was gonna offer me, like it just didn't feel right. And I am glad that I didn't continue with that, because that company was actually blacklisted like multiple times before this. So the 8th life lesson that I learned is that if opportunity doesn't come knocking on your door, then you gotta go out and find it. There are multiple like stages in my life where I realized this, that I need to go out on my own initiative, on my own accord, to find opportunities on my own. But the most like recent time when I realized this life lesson is when I became an international medical student studying in Malaysia. So there are actually very few opportunities out there for me. There are very few like scholarships and bursaries out there for me right now, and I have been struggling with like finding opportunities that are relevant to me. So I have to go out on my own initiative to find all of these opportunities on my own. And there is this app that I have been using called Opportunity Feed. So through this app, I can find like a bunch of different types of opportunities like scholarships, conferences, internships, and many more. So let me just show you how I normally use this app. So basically I go into Opportunity Feed, and then there is this like list of opportunities that are there, and they basically like mention like what kind of opportunity it is, and they also categorize by location. So normally I would use the filter function at the bottom. I can filter by type, so I will choose, right now I'm looking for scholarships, so I'll choose that. Country, I'm gonna choose my country, which is Singapore. Location, okay, the cool thing about location, right, is that there is okay, I'm just gonna put Asia. And there is also online. So there are also opportunities online as well. So I'm just gonna apply that. Okay, for tags, it's basically like the area of interest that you have. For me, it is medicine. So that's what I'm gonna put and apply. So at the very top, you'll see the opportunity that is most relevant for you, and then like if I want to apply now, I can click that, and then they will direct me to the website. So full disclosure, I'm not being paid to talk about this app. The founders of this company actually approached me asking me to try out their app, and they said that if I found it useful, then I can talk about it in one of my videos. So I have been trying out this app for the past couple of months, and personally I feel like an app like this is super helpful for us university students, because it's really hard for us to find opportunities just like that. So having it all in one app where we can find the ones that are most relevant to us I find it super useful. A lot of you guys have actually been reaching out to me via my comment section, via my DMs on Instagram, through my emails, asking me like if there are any scholarships or sponsorships for medical students, especially those studying in Malaysia. So they are adding in a lot of exciting opportunities for students in Asia. So you guys can look forward to that. If you guys happen to check out their app, then let me know down in the comment section down below what kind of opportunities that you have found that are relevant to you. And also, If you have made it this far into the video, then let me know which country you are from in the comment section down below, because I'm curious. Alright, number 9. A life lesson that I learned is balance is the key of life. So I realized that in every aspect of life, there are two extremes, and we are always being made to choose between two extremes. So it is really the ability to strike a good balance between the two that really helps us to lead a peaceful life. For example, we can't focus all of our energy into our work, into our career, and forget our family life. We can't focus too much on pleasing others and forget about our mental health. And we can't focus too much on our academics and forget about our other interests. We really need to strike a balance within every single aspect in our lives in order for us to be truly happy. Number 10. I learned that you have no control over the ending. You only have control over your own actions. So what I realized, right, is that we are only able to influence the end result, but we don't have complete control over the end result. So that's why I learned that instead of focusing too much on the end result, we should focus more on our actions that will lead us towards the end result. So for example, let's say there is this huge exam that you have and you want to get an A for it. So instead of focusing just on dreaming about that A, I realized that we should strategize on the study plan of how we can get that A. Because ultimately, what if the exam was harder than you expected? What if the examiner marked more strictly than usual? Or what if you got food poisoning before the exam? You don't have control over these things, right? So even though at the end some of these factors might affect your performance, at least you had control over your actions over these past few months. So as long as you are able to really make full use of the time before the exam, or really strategize very, very well before the exam, at least you can leave the exam hall saying that you tried your best, because the end result is really not under your control. So we shouldn't be so obsessed over yes, I want to get that A, no matter what, I need to get that A. Yes, a lot of us are like that, including me. I'm a very ambitious person. I always want to, aim super high. But I realized that we don't have control over the end result. I personally believe that the end result is up to God. All that we can do is just put in our best effort, and at least we can leave this entire exam hall or situation saying that at least we tried our best, and that's really all we can do. Number 11. Sometimes we need to let things go at its own flow. So personally, I consider myself as someone who likes to take control of her life and micromanage things. I don't know if it's a good thing or a bad thing, but that's just how I am. So I like to plan things ahead of time, and I don't like unexpected things coming in and disrupting my plans. But I realize that we don't always know what's best for us. So sometimes if we let things go at its natural course, we might actually end up in the place that we are meant to be at. Number 12, don't focus on the little things too much and focus on the big picture instead. So this is a super helpful life lesson that I truly understood the meaning of once I entered university. So as a first-year medical student, there is really a lot of information that we are presented with. But the thing is that we don't need to know every single thing to its very detail. The reason why is because we are still first-year medical students. We are not specialists yet. So there are some things that we absolutely need to know, and that's a must. Just looking at things from a bigger picture will help you to not really focus so much on the nitty-gritty details, but rather to see how everything fits in the bigger scheme of things. So in my academics, it has really helped me understand things better by looking at the general overview of things and then zooming into the details. Number 13, I learned that God gives you the things that you want at the timing that He thinks is best for you, not at the timing that you want it. So I learned that even though there is something that we want really badly right now, it might not be the best time to have it. We never know when is the best time or when is the right time for something to happen to us, even though we really, really want it at a certain point in time. But I believe that God can really see the bigger, grander scheme of things. So I believe that He will give us the right thing at the right time. Number 14. There is no such thing as rejection. There is only redirection. So I was telling this to my friend the other day when she was telling me about how she got rejected from this thing that she signed up for, that she really wanted to be in, and that was like making her really depressed. And I actually learned this from one of Ibsmo's videos, and I realized that it's actually really true, so it has stuck with me ever since I heard it from him. So I think that if we look at rejection as redirection instead, it really changes our perspective on things. Maybe the things that we really want are not right for us. And through this rejection, we are actually being redirected to the things that are right for us. Number 15, make time to explore your interests out of your academics. Okay, here's the thing. I really value education. But I also believe that the classroom is not the only place for us to learn. And I think that, as young people, as human beings, we definitely have a lot of interests outside of our academics, be it singing, playing the violin, editing videos, whatever it is. And I think that it's really healthy for us to explore all of these interests, because one thing is that it's going to expand our skill set. Another thing is that it's going to also help us to de-stress from our actual academics. So for me, I have a lot of interests such as research, such as singing, editing videos, a lot of different things. And for example, I actually started this YouTube channel really spontaneously back when I was 15. I was actually searching up recipes for banana cake, and I realized that all of them use an oven, and I didn't have an oven back then. So I thought that, hey, I actually have a method to make banana cake without an oven. And I was thinking, like, what if there were other people on YouTube that actually didn't have an oven but wanted to bake a banana cake? And that's where my very first video started and my channel started. And after that video, I realized that I really enjoyed editing, and I really enjoyed creating content. And I also really like the fact that through YouTube I'm able to connect with people, which is why I continued this YouTube journey, and I'm really, really glad that I did. I'm just really glad to have this platform. Wait, what was this? What was I talking about? Oh yeah, right, interest, right? So yeah, seeing that this is one of my interests, I'm glad that I explored this interest. I definitely have a lot of improvement to do in terms of my editing skills, my presentation skills, my quality of my videos, but I'm definitely learning from my mistakes, and I'm trying to improve every single time. So thank you guys for staying with me, and thank you guys for subscribing. It really means a lot, and yeah. Let's go on into the next life lesson, shall we? Alright, number 16. If it feels right, just do it. So I've been contemplating back on my life, and I realized that for some of the biggest decisions that I have made in my life, right, I actually relied heavily on my gut feeling. So a lot of you guys may not know this, but before medicine, I was actually in pharmacy at NUS, also known as the National University of Singapore. And at that time, I was facing a huge dilemma between choosing NUS pharmacy versus medicine. And medicine has always been a dream career of mine. I've always wanted to be a doctor since I was young. I find it a very noble career, and it's just something that I see myself doing. But studying medicine at comes with a huge sacrifice. There is a huge financial cost that comes with it. There is the separation from my family. I have to live on my own. And of course, there are a lot of other sacrifices that I had to make. But all in all, looking back, I don't think I'll ever regret choosing medicine. And I think that if I were to go back to that time, I would have chosen medicine again. And medicine is actually exactly what I imagined it to be. It's challenging, but it's worth it for me. Number 17. It's okay to make mistakes, but it's not okay to make mistakes over and over again. I mean, obviously as human beings, it's definitely inevitable for us to make mistakes. But I feel like all of these mistakes are there for us to learn from them and make sure that we don't repeat these mistakes again. So normally I try to take note of every single mistake that I've made, and I'll like write down what I've learned from these mistakes, and I'll make sure that I'll like try my best to make sure that I don't make these mistakes again. Because personally, I don't like making mistakes. Even though I do make a lot of mistakes, I just don't like making mistakes. So I just make sure that I don't repeat those mistakes again. So I think writing down like your mistakes and what you learn from them really helps in like to help you prevent repeating your mistakes. Number 18. Think about what you want people to say about you at your funeral. So I know that this is really dark, but sometimes I stop and I think about what I would like people to talk about me at my funeral. So I want people to say that I am a kind, honest, caring person who is patient and spreads positivity wherever she goes. So whenever I think about like what I want people to say about me, it just makes me adjust my actions a bit more so that I am able to make sure that I achieve that image that I want people to remember me with. So hopefully at my funeral, people will really say that I am a kind, honest, caring person who spreads positivity wherever she goes and who is patient. I hope that that's what people would say. It is a very dark thing, but I learned this from Dale Carnegie in his book called How to Win Friends and Influence People. He mentioned about this, and I think that it's a really helpful way to force us or incentivize us to, adjust our actions so that we are better versions of ourselves and so that we are able to portray the image that we want people to remember us as. Alright, number 19. Don't be afraid to go out of your comfort zone. So personally, I would say that I am a very sensible person and I don't usually take risks or do anything that is unorthodox. However, there has been a few times in my life where I have made decisions that are way out of my comfort zone. And back then, I didn't know what I was signing myself up for. But looking back at it now, I'm glad that I did because I ended up with a lot of fond memories. For example, back when I was 16, I decided to go for this international research exchange program to the UK. Now, here's the thing. I had never traveled alone prior to that time. And on top of that, I have never traveled outside of Asia before. So at that age of 16, I decided to go out of Asia, to travel out of Asia on my own with just my schoolmates and a few teachers to accompany us. To me, that was like really way out of my comfort zone. And at that time, it was winter. I had never experienced snow before or winter before, so that was a new experience for me as well. But I don't regret it at all because we ended up with a pretty decent research project, and I also managed to become really good friends with my host in the UK. And I actually still keep in touch with her even till today. So I'm really glad that I was able to make new friends through this research exchange program. And number 20, last but definitely not the least, strive to be comfortable in your own skin. Honestly, this is such an important life lesson, and I wanted to end off the video with this life lesson in particular. And I find it really important because I realized that in order for us to live our lives to the fullest and to live our lives in a peaceful way, we really need to be at peace with who we are first. So in order for us to be able to love someone else or care for someone else, we really need to be comfortable with our own selves first. We need to love ourselves first, and that is honestly so important. And another thing that I learned under this life lesson is that there is a difference between being comfortable in your own skin and being confident in your own skin. And I think that the first step towards being confident is to be comfortable. And different people have different journeys. I for sure took a really long time to feel comfortable in my own skin. And even till today, there are still some situations where I feel uncomfortable or feel insecure, and I think that that's okay. But I believe that I really have come a long way from where I was before, and that's all that matters. It's really about the journey, and hopefully one day I'll get to a place where I'm truly comfortable in my own skin. So I think that that's really important in order for us to live life to the fullest. Alright, so with that, thank you guys so much for watching. That's all I have for you guys today. I hope you guys found these 20 life lessons useful. I definitely found them really useful. And do let me know down in the comment section down below what kind of videos you want to see next. If you have had the chance to use Opportunity Feed, do let me know what kind of opportunities you have found, because I really want to know. And don't forget to hit the subscribe button, turn on your post notifications, and give this video a big thumbs up if you liked it. Until next time, bye!
Because I'm doing this for the thrill of it, killing it.